In today's video, we're going to go from this makeshift keep the batteries warm rack to this new cabinet that I made. So keep watching, I'll show you how I make it and how we're going to install it and how it functions. Welcome to Papa Junk's shop. Well, about a month ago we had some really cold weather, like 14 below zero for one night and some other below zero, not quite that bad, but we had wicked wind, like 30 mile an hour, almost sustained wind for hours. And where I have my batteries in our garage usually stays nice and warm. And I have a temperature indicator, I guess you'd say, on my batteries. And I also have a cup of water sitting there right beside them. And after the second day, of course we didn't have any sun during this time either. The third day it settled down and we got some sun and my batteries come back up, but I only had half capacity. And I got checking and I have 4 batteries, each with 2 in series for 24 volts, and one set has low temperature cutoff. Well, apparently the one set decided it was too cold, even though it wasn't freezing, and shut off. So I thought, oh, I don't want that to happen again, so I'm going to build an insulated heated battery box so I don't have this problem again. So this is my old cart from my Edison batteries, and I stripped off all the old brackets. They're in a pile over here, and I'm going to use this extruded aluminum and mount on these corners. And I've got a bunch of this styrofoam, rigid styrofoam, and I'm going to make a double wall battery box. This should be able to hold 8 of the 100 ampere hour batteries. And so far, like I say, I've got this old crap cleaned off, and in order to get my maximum amount of space, I want these posts to be way out here on the edge. So with these casters here, I run into a problem. This extruded aluminum that I got for free from some displays has a place to thread them, so I thought that would be an excellent way to mount those on there. Well, the caster was in the way, so I had to take the casters off, drill and tap a hole here, and I put a 1/4 inch threaded bolt in there. And what I'll do is I'll screw this on there, you know, like that, and then the other bolt's in the clear underneath, so it'll come up through right here. So just getting started on this project, so I'll show you as I go along. But my next move is going to be to get all these posts mounted on there, and then start figuring out how the insulation and I guess the inside wall of the box will be. So see you in a bit. Making some progress. The corner posts are mounted. There's 2 inches of that foam insulation in the bottom, and I got the back and the 2 end pieces on, and these are going to be, like I said before, there's going to be 2 inches of this foam insulation in there all the way around. I guess my next move is going to be to figure out my shelf, because there's going to be 2 layers of them, batteries, and there's going to be an area off to the side here where I have some disconnects and some monitoring stuff. So this is design as you go project, so I'm gonna get going on her. I'll show you my next wave of progress. Now I got another afternoon involved in making one shelf, designing and making. So this is going to be the shelf that's going to go in there, and it'll fasten with 3 bolts in the back, 2 bolts in the side, and then this wing sticking out here is going to go up to the front for support, because I want an area over here for my wiring and stuff. So I'm going to mount it with 5 screws, and to do that I've got, get you swung around here, I've got something new. Well, it was new not this last Christmas, but the Christmas before. One of the kids got it for me for Christmas, and every time I wanted to use it for something, there was some reason why I couldn't. So this time I think it's going to work out. And it uses these, well, they're like a rivet nut that'll go in. And this is the tool. So we're going to try her out. Let me get you set up over there, and you can watch me either screw up my first one or do it successfully. Okay, here we go. I guess what you do is you screw this on there, and I guess that's how you load it. The instructions that come with it are about worthless. You have to kind of figure it out on your own. Okay, and then you should be able to push it in the hole. They don't tell you what size hole to drill or anything else, so you got to figure that all out yourself. Okay. There we go. First one was a success. Looks like it's going to work pretty nice. Take you around the back so I can show you. If I don't drop the camera on the floor. Where are you? There you are. Does a pretty nice job. Okay, got 4 more to put in. Okay, got all the whatever you call them in there, blind nuts, or I don't know what the name of them is. See how I did for getting things lined up. I did pretty. 1/4-inch screws, 1/4-inch holes. Usually went one side further. Oh, there she goes. Looks like it's lined up good. To make the shelf so I can take it in and out just in case someday, you know, I want to put some wonderful new battery or something that's different size. Maybe they'll be better and smaller, and I can put 2 shelves. permanent. Okay. I'm going to tighten them all right down because this is going to be in and out of here a few more times. We got one more if that one cooperates. There she goes. Thought maybe I didn't have that one right. So anyway, kind of awkward, kind of close quarters there. Well, like I say, I don't want to tighten them up. So. Okay, there we go. Like I say, next thing is probably going to be this front panel that's going to go here, and this will support this end of the shelf. That way I've got room for wires and whatever I'm going to have in here. So, I guess that'll be next. Yeah, look what FedEx just dropped off. Let's take a look and see, make sure they're okay. I already got 2 of these, so now I'm going to have 4 of them. And I was just looking, and for some reason they had these for $252. I better grab them. Sure enough, the next day I looked and they were back up to 3 something. I don't know why that particular day they were cheaper. Here we go. That one survived fine. Let's see. Yep, looks fine. Move you over here so you can see a little better. That's what the plan is. It should fit in there either way. Should be able to put 4 like this. 2 over there, or should be able to put 4 this way. But I'm pretty sure we're going to go with this route because we have a short bus bar here. The 24 volts will come off of here. The other set will be here. Those posts will be right here. That way I can keep all my cable lengths the same, so there won't be any voltage loss because of different lengths of cable. And then someday, if I go 48 volts, which is, I like to get a bigger hybrid inverter, go 48 volts. I was hoping one of them companies would want to send me one to review, but I haven't seen anything. So, when I go to do 48 volts, I'll be able to just put a bus bar between here and go around that way, and it'll still be right here, it'll be the 48 volts. So that's the plan. So much for the unboxing. Now, yesterday was a day of rest, and I had some stuff coming for this project, and it finally got here. One thing about Amazon, you know, they tell you it's going to be here, and then every day they tell you it's going to be another day. So it finally got here, and you won't believe this. This is how it came. I didn't open it. And can you believe it's all there still? Doesn't look like they ever dampened that or whatever they do. So what we got in here is going to be the disconnects for the this section of the battery. So I'm going to try to modify these so they don't stick out so far, and so I don't have to have special terminals to go in. You'll probably see how that happens later. And we also have battery monitor. I decided to go with one of these again because the other one seems to be accurate and it's simple, and a lot of the other ones tell you more, but I don't know, all that complicated stuff sometimes isn't necessary. So this is the 500 amp. And that would be the cable to go between the shunt and the unit, I guess. Okay. So that's going to be part of that. And we got going to be using some number 4 copper. So I got some lugs, and these should fit the battery M8 bolts. They're tinned copper, and you get to try out the new crimper on them too. And I made some terminals. Now these are going to be where the battery hooks up, and I had some brass. I turned these brass parts on the lathe, and these are plastic. I turned them on the lathe, and we'll punch a hole this size, and then this will go on the outside, this will go on the inside, and then I've got a 5/16 fine thread here and a 1/2 inch fine thread here, and that'll go on there like that. Just sticks out a little bit, and then we've got a nut to hold it in place. and then one that's going to hold the wire on. And the plan is, yeah, hopefully this is about the same size as, matter of fact, maybe mine's a little bigger. Yeah, guess mine's just a whisker bigger. So I was thinking that I could mount that shunt right on this terminal, like so. I'll have to look and see. Maybe I'll wind up turning this down next size smaller for just this outside portion to go through there. Maybe I won't too, because it's not deep enough. Oh well, if I would have had this on time before I made that, I could have checked all that stuff. But you know, you get anxious and want to get making stuff. Alright, so much for that. Get working on her. Well, before I fold up this piece for the front on the brake, I wanted to lay it out and get all the holes punched in it. It's a lot easier to do it when it's flat. So this is a mock-up of it. You got the two output terminals, I guess you'd call them, the monitoring meter, the temperature controller. This is going to be to select one of the 4 sections of the battery to test each one individually, and disconnects for each section, 24 volt section of the battery. And if I ever do switch to 48 volts, 2 of these will be not used. So I got to get the rest, or I got some of it marked out, as you can see, but I got to get the rest of them all marked out and the holes all cut. Working on my disconnect switch is because I want to cut them down so that these are exposed more for mounting on that front panel. Otherwise these wires would be kind of back in, pretty difficult to get at. I got a test hole cut here. This test hole is for the monitoring meter, and this is going to be for the as you can see, if I did that, that would be kind of difficult to get into. So I'm cutting them down. Oops. Cutting them down so, you know, they're more or less exposed. So to do that, this one was a guinea pig test case. It turned out okay. See how to do it. So what I do is I mark it all the way around, and you have to leave enough material in there so that you can mount it. So that's as low as I could go. I would have liked to have gone lower. If this would have been solid up to here, I could have went even lower. But what I do is I mark it, like I said. I'll pull all these sides off. There's always one that really comes out difficult for some reason. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to pull it apart. I thought maybe you guys would like to see what's in there. Oop. I always mark it so I can get it back together the same way. Let's see, I put it on the green, and then I mark here on the case, and then on the white part. Okay, so now we can pull it apart. There's a fairly strong spring in there. So these last two screws, you kind of got to hold a little pressure on it. Okay. This is what the contact looks like. They have some grease on them. And there's that little spring. And there's a gasket. And then this has got the detents on it for the switch position. So now I'm going to take it over on the bandsaw and I'm going to cut close to this line on each one of these legs. And then I'll also cut close to this line on each one of these. And then I'll use some super glue to glue these pieces back in, these little short pieces. And then I'll take it over on the belt sander and just touch it up against and work my way into these lines to get it nice, flat, square. So I got 3 of them to do. This is what one looks like when it's ready to be put on the sander. You can still see my line there. I got pretty close on these legs on this one. And I'm sure some of you are saying, well, why didn't you just buy the ones that, you know, flush mount? Well, these are $12.50 a piece, and the other ones were 29 something a piece. That's why. And you know, when you're on a fixed income, you look for a bargain. Got the front panel all laid out. Got everything center punched, and got to drill 4 3/4 inch holes here for the punch. And won't fit on my regular drill press, so we're going to use the radial drill press. First took me 20 minutes to clear all the stuff off it. Don't use it real often. So I'm going to get those holes drilled. One down, 3 to go. Yeah, it's been kind of a boring afternoon. Got lots of holes in her. And I did change this. I turned this down so it'll fit here. So I can mount this right on the battery post. So I'm going to trial fit all this stuff. Holy mackerel. Sorry guys. I don't know which is going where. I just want to see if it's going to fit in there. Yeah, it's a nice tight fit. For the red one. Monitor. temperature controller. And then this switch is going to be here. It's going to be the other way around. So I'm just going to stick it in there that way. And let's see, we got 3 test points here. So, and I'm type one of these switches. Let's put up some screws down through. I'm not going to use these screws. I guess the holes are really close tolerance. That kind of bow there. Okay, looks like they're going to be alright. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so there's the front panel. Everything was successful. Now, I need to bend this 90 degrees that way. And this needs to bend. Probably going to fold that all the way over to double the strength of this. And then this will bend 90 degrees. And then that'll go on the front of the cabinet. So, like I say, I got a whole afternoon involved in laying out and making holes. So if I screw it up when I bend it, then I ain't going to be happy. So I'm going to triple check everything before I pull the lever on the brake. Well, I managed to get all the bends right. And I got the length of the shelf support figured out and got a screw in it. That's going to support that part of the shelf. So just got her temporarily clamped in there to get a feel for things. I guess next is try to figure out whether to do the top or the door. The door I haven't decided whether I want it on a hinge or have another method. Not sure. It's not something I'm going to have to get into very often. At least that's not the plan. So, and I think a hinged door would be more apt to give trouble probably. So, guess I'll have to think on it. Well, I've been working on some sheet metal stuff and decided that I needed to build my fuse holder. So I did that. And I've been working on these. I got some stainless bolts cut to the right length and brass washers, lock washers, both ready for that. But I thought I'd show you my fuse holder slash bus bar, I guess you'd call it. It was an interesting project. If you guys remember, I got that Corian stuff, I guess you call it, at the auction. So figured that would be a good choice for making a fuse holder. The only thing is I've got to put 2 pieces together to get enough width. So I made this piece, and when I went to put it together, this is my bus bar. When I drilled the holes, I accidentally turned the bus bar around the wrong way, and there's one of them that's spaced different because it's the common fuse. So when I went to put it together, it was backwards. So I made a new one. And can you believe I made another one just like this one? Got it wrong. I guess I was tired. So rather than make a third one, I just kind of cobbled it, I guess you'd say. But it's not going to hurt it any. I mean, it's just the idea that I wanted it right, but I wasn't going to do it 3 times. So I'll show you how I made the thing. There's 4 screws that hold the backing on. And the backing holds the 2 pieces in place. I haven't had this part since I painted it. Hope I'm not boring you guys with this stuff. You know what button to push if you are bored. Fast forward. Alright, so how this works is, see, that's pretty good paint. And I just cannot work neat. You know, I was putting tools away and keeping a nice clean work area. Well, I just can't do it, I guess. Okay, so this is the bus bar, and it's gonna mount right there like so. And these screws are the ones that are gonna go in there. They're brass, and they will be for one end of each fuse. See how I fixed it. I just cut a groove in there, drilled the 3 holes in the right spot, and I just put a groove instead of individual pocket for each screw. Okay, so these need to be cranked right up really good. Okay, and then this one, these are threaded in the plastic part. Threads on this one are in the bus bar. Okay. One of them seems to have evaporated. Screw. Which way did you go? Al, you guys don't want to watch me look for a screw. Give me a minute, I'll be back. I finally found it. It was under the table. So I'm going to use the little impact just to make sure that these are good and tight. This is a 1-inch wide brass bus bar that's fairly thick. Don't know exactly how thick. So now, put all this back together. Good. accordion stuff pretty tough. Fat fingers and little screws don't get along. So we were in Walmart the other day, and I always use a bunch of that cheap spray paint of theirs, that black stuff for stuff that I don't really, you know, stuff you're not real fussy about. So when I was making a negative bus bar, I thought I'd use a can of, I bought 2 cans, so took the cap, shook the one up, took the cap off, and there's no spray nozzle on it. So I went and got the other one. Same thing. So I bought 2 cans with no nozzles on it. So is that the new fad now for people to take the squirters off of the thing, or did Walmart forget to put them on there? Anyways, this is how it's going to go. Oops. Two of them go on. Well, I got a pretty snug fit on that. I wanted to have it close anyway, so. Anyways, that's how it's going to go. And then there'll be washers and nuts that go on here, of course. So that'll hold up to 4 24-volt, 100-ampere-hour sections. And then this, they all tie together at this point. The switches will be on this end, and then this will be the common fuse. I got a 150 amp one because that's, you know, I got 3,000 watt inverter, so, well, really 2,400 watts, 3,000 volt amps. So, you know, around 100 amps is all I'm ever going to use. So, fuse it at 150, we should be safe. So, that's that. The negative one is the same deal. There'll just be only 2 ports because everything is just common on the negative side, and the output one is a 3/8 stud. So that's that. I'm going to work on sheet metal some more now. Well, I got the top cut out, bent up. Had an awful time with it because it won't fit in my brake. It's too long. My brake's only 30 inches, and this is, was it 42? I can do the ends, but I couldn't do the long pieces. So they're not quite like I would like them to turn out. So I was trying to figure out how to deal with these corners. So I've made a little angle piece, and like crying out, if I get started, one in there, and one in there, and work my way down through. Okay, I can get that in there. And then you guys aren't going to believe this, but I'm going old school. I'm going to solder it, the corners. Get this held in place where I want it. Okay, I'm going to flux that baby up right there. Going to be the solder down there. And I'll do the same on the inside. Okay, got the inside done. Oops. Don't go crashing on the floor. Put just a little flux on there. Now this metal is zinc plated, so it solders really nicely. Alright, 3 more to go. Little touch up with the file. Get a little sandpaper on there too to make it even nicer, so I think that's going to work okay. Now there's the top setting on there. It looks like she's going to be A-okay. Doesn't look too bad, I guess. Soldering them corners brings back memories from high school shop. You know, they don't have that stuff anymore, at least in our area. And kids are really missing out on some good stuff nowadays. They don't know how to do anything except run a computer and a phone and all that stuff. There's still a lot of smart kids out there, though. I shouldn't discredit them. But there'd be a lot more smarter ones if they still offer those programs. Now I got the front panel all made, insulated, and it goes on like that. I haven't decided how I'm going to hold it in place. I was thinking about putting a couple of pins down there, then having the salt one on by, drop down on those pins, but there isn't enough up here to really work with, so I'll probably just have a couple of little knobs or something here down there at the bottom, because the top can't come out. So I guess next we'll be working on the sides. Yeah, I got the sides made, got them just held on there with a temporary, and decided it was time to squirt some paint on it. So got it painted. There's the front. Gonna let it set for a day or so before I mess with it, make sure it's dry. And in the meantime, I got this front panel painted too, and it seems to be dry enough. I just use rattle can paint for that, so it dried a lot quicker. This has got some old school Sherwin-Williams on it, enamel, so it needs a few days to really get good and dry, especially when it's chilly this time of year. So gonna go to work on this. I got thinking there wasn't any insulation for this area here, so I didn't think that styrofoam stuff was going to work, so I had a piece of the old ceiling tile, fiberglass stuff, so I traced it before I mounted any of that stuff, and it's going to fit right in there like that. So I'm going to continue with the assembly. Now I got all the components mounted on it and threw some labels on it, such as they are. So now I can get some of it wired up and then temporarily fit it on the cabinet and figure out what like the wires are going to be to go to the battery switches and all that good stuff. So See you in a bit. Now I got some cable lengths figured out, so I'm going to try out the new wire crimper. First time I've used it. This one looked like the closest one to the right size. They're not labeled for any particular size, so I guess what I'll do is bring this up so it'll hold it in place. Looks like it's, no, that should be, I'll try centering it. I can always give it another, move it and give it another pinch. Okay, and I've got some 1/0 cable. This is going to be from the shunt to the negative bus bar. Make sure I hold her in place. Okay, not much effort. Looks like the gap was closed. I missed one little hair. Oh, that's bad. See what she looks like. Oh, I missed 2 hairs. Okay, I think I'll move it up and give that another little crimp. So I got to make 2 of these cables, so I got 3 more to go. Okay, that's what the final crimp looked like. Looks like it did a nice job. I mean, it's like it's solid right there. So, guess I'm happy with the results. All the wires and cables are made and installed. At the top we got a, let's see, AH welding cable going to the bus bar, positive bus bar, and this is the shunt, and a 1/0 welding cable going to the negative bus bar, the monitor, the temperature control, the selector switch for the each battery section, the 4 disconnects, the AC input for the temperature control. So I think it's all wired. We can go. I got the insulation on the one side, and got the one side mounted on the back side, and we can get the front panel mounted now, I believe. Got the front panel all mounted. Got all the wires run to the bus bars. Double checked them all. Make sure they're all tight. They all got washers and lock washers on them, split washers. We got 2 positives, 2 negatives, and the 2 common test points for the pairs of batteries top shelf. Same for the bottom. So, coming in the home stretch. Got some more insulating to do. And then I'm thinking probably can put some batteries in her. See if she works. Got the rest of the insulation installed. This side, the back. And for the top, my original thoughts was to have the insulation fastened in the top, because I want to have the top removable because it makes it so much easier to get in here to do something if you needed to, like replace a fuse or something. You know, when you get a battery over in here, it's not going to be very accessible, so the top needs to be removable easily. So I decided to put some angle pieces in here, just some of the leftover tin from the project folded on the brake, and I made the insulation so that it just drops in nice and snug, like so. And rests on there. And then we've got the top here, which will just go one like so, and then there's 4 screws go in the sides. And the front panel, which is insulated, seen that earlier, is going to fit right in there, like so. And I push the top. Get it screwed together, it goes better. Goes just like that. So that's what she'll look like when it's all closed in. And then I got the couple of knobs down here to hold the front in place. So if I pull this top back off, without letting the front go crashing, you can see that we're all closed in, because there's insulation behind this. So I'm thinking that we should be pretty good shape insulating wise. I realize that these corners do have some exposed metal inside, which is going to transfer some heat out or cold in, however you want to look at it. But this is what I had to work with, so that's the way it is. Now I think when I go to install it, I'm going to nice and snug. I'm going to go through the wiring a little better and show you a little more detail. And I did put a couple batteries in. Let me reposition you here. Let's see. As a matter of fact, let me turn you off, get you a better shot. Alright, you should be able to see better now. So, these batteries are in battery number 2 position. So, we'll turn on battery number 2. And our battery monitor comes up. And the temperature controller, I decided to go with the 120 volt version. You could go with the low voltage version if you wanted to use your battery power directly, but I opted to go with a 120 volt one. And I'm going to use one of these computer type cords. I got a receptacle down here that I saved out of a computer power supply, I believe. So it's down here, so if I plug that in, that'll light. I have to get the paperwork out, see how to program this thing again. I kind of forget how it goes. And then each battery section has its own disconnect. And I don't have it set up. Apparently it doesn't. There we go. So those two batteries in series are 27.06. So that's just a quick look at it. We'll get into more details when I put it in place. I'll go through how this works. So we'll see you later when we do the install. Yeah, I think I'm ready to disassemble this old battery snuggler. And I've got all of the solar inputs disconnected. I just want to double check. Yep. The main battery's disconnected. The hybrid inverter shut off. And the AC breaker is off that feeds it, which I never use anyways, only in emergency. And the water wheel is shut off, and the windmill brake is on, so it won't put anything out either. So near as I can tell, I should be able to disassemble that old battery box. I got 24 volt system, so we got 2 in series here, 2 in series here. And then they're paralleled. Okay, it's just a matter of me getting the rest of the connections off and pulling them out of there. Okay, all the batteries are out of the old rack, and what I want to do now is, they were 100% charged. I made sure of that. So this is the first time they've ever been out of there for, well, I put these in there in the fall because these go in my camper. So they've been in there since last fall, which would be what, probably October. So let's see how they are voltage wise. 13.85, 13.99, 13.51, 14.29. So this one seems to be the lowest one for whatever reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook them all in parallel and put the charger on them, let them all equalize before I install them in the new cabinet. So I got some bus bars here and a 20 amp charger, so that's my next move while I'm getting the rest of this area ready. That's the positive side all done. Let's see what happens when we start hooking them up, if we get any sparkage. Well, didn't get any sparkage there. There either. Well, that was disappointing, wasn't it? I'll go ahead and get it finished up and get the charger on it. Okay, with them all hooked together, we got 13.79. So I'm going to stick this charger on. Put it right in the middle. That's right, yep. Let it go till she shuts down. It's only been a couple of minutes, so I don't think I'm going to have a lot of time to get things ready here, am I? Before the batteries are ready, so I'm kind of going to try to watch it and see when it shuts down. Just shut off. So 14.45. It's been, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes maybe. Let's see what they settled down to since we shut the charger off. 14:02. So I'm going to disconnect all the bus bars and then I'm going to measure them individually again just for the fun of it. Well, it's the next day and I was editing my video, getting it ready to upload, and a whole bunch of it was corrupted at the end, which is very disappointing because that's when it showed me installing the batteries and bringing everything else back online again, and everything worked just like it was supposed to, but now I can't show you, and I'm not going to take it back out and redo it. But as you can see, we've got intermittent sun and clouds today, and we're running 915 watts right now. Battery is at 99.9%, 26.94, and we're using 12 amps right now. Sun decided to fade away a little bit, and we got 299.4 ampere hours. I didn't put any of the heating stuff in because I'm not sure what I'm going to use, and I'm pretty sure that we're not going to have any more of that drastically cold weather, so I'm not going to worry about it for a bit, the heating portion of it. And like I can say, you can see the water wheel. And that's the EP-Ever. This is what's going into the hybrid inverter. And over here we've got, what, 8.8 amps. So everything's working good. I apologize for the corrupted stuff. I don't know. Maybe my car's getting old. Not sure. So, well, the sun just came out. That brought the voltage up enough so that the water wheel went into the dump load. The dump load's a little bit lower resistance, I guess, so it's up to what, 7 amps. So, and this one's running 25 now. Earlier it was up past 30. Not supposed to go past 30, but it's chilly out and the sun's really bright, nice and clear when it does come out, so making a little more than usual. So, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Share the video with other people and give me a thumbs up if you feel I did a good job. I wouldn't blame you this time if I don't get a thumbs up. So, anyways, we'll see you again. Thanks for watching.